Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept, and the journey continues today on March 24th, 2021 at roughly 4:10 a.m. Well, we said we were going to be back here pretty early. We got bed last night, Lord knows, but a half an hour after we got finished the video yesterday, and that would have been 11 o'clock last night, so here we are again. And again, what I'm doing here is just keeping things moving from my standpoint. One of the biggest things that I have to look at, and that you really have to look at, where it comes to changing your life to what you consider the better, is literally figure out what you're not content with. It's easier to figure out what you're not content with, quite frankly, than what you may be content with. Okay. Simply put, I had a rough day yesterday. Had a couple of hiccups, but they're in the past. So let's just move forward, shall we? And again, I have this neat little list. Okay, yes, I keep it handy because the simple fact of the matter is, by doing so, I can actually get things. I can stay on top of things, kind of like this. Okay, one of these days I'm going to get around to using that. Just a standard hard drive. I've got photos all over the place that I've got to go through and sort out. I saw something one day that I think I'm going to look into getting. I just have to go and find it again, concerning an automatic scanner. But once you identify something you're not content with, okay, you start eliminating that from your life. Okay, and what you'll find is all you're left with is what you're happy with. Net result, you end up with a life that you can wake up to and go, great, my day's going well. Today is kind of weird. I'm starting to look at things a whole lot differently. Yesterday, well, maybe. Yesterday was a little rough. This morning I'm looking back on it going, yeah, had my hiccups, but at least I know what caused them. I know how to deal with them. And the real plus side was that the conflicts that I ran into were things that were not a direct cause of the other individual. They were just outside influence, and this is something that you have to look at. Are you reacting to certain things are you taking a situation and really understanding what's causing it? Now, I've had a lot to say about doctors. Myself, not on video. Okay. For me, things have always been a little screwy as far as medical goes. But I have come to the understanding that if I don't understand what a problem is, I can't deal with it. Okay. Once I've got a handle on it, not necessarily the outcome, but where the inconsistency is. Once I know what the inconsistency is, I can correct it. Which is why I am down to, well, we're the 24th, meaning I've got less than a week, at which point everything goes into lockdown for me, meaning I'm going to be paying extremely close attention and focusing on one aspect, because I'll have all the bits and pieces out of the way. That one aspect will be to literally eliminate the bits and pieces of okay, we'll try that again. That one aspect is going to be my retirement. Okay, let's face it. I'm going to be 58 in a couple of months. Okay, and it's quite frankly way overdue time to get organized on that. So I've got my office mostly organized. You can still see that there's some mess back here, and that's okay. I got some over here too, but at least I know what I'm doing with it. I'm not content with it the way it is, so it's being corrected. Same with the up front. Okay, one step at a time is really all you can do. Now, here's the thing. I keep telling people this, okay? The simple philosophy of life is this. Number one, okay, the past is over. No matter how you got to where you are, you're where you are. And you don't really have to understand exactly how you got there. Okay, if you're in what you consider rough shape, the odds are you did something in the past that offset it. Now you can say, well, this was done to me, or, and I get it a lot. Who cast a spell on me to make my life miserable? Well, the reality behind it is a little more simple than you might think. Okay, magic itself, as in what people are calling black magic, hexing, this sort of thing. Does it exist? The answer is yes. Is it responsible for everything that goes wrong in everybody's life? No. It's the same as people that look at it and go, God doesn't like me. Well, something you might want to understand, whether it's God by any name, if he didn't like you, well, you'd already be dead and you wouldn't be worried about it on this side. Okay, it just doesn't work that way. But whatever you brought you to where you are, you have to start here. Now, the past, that road that got you to here, if you think of it this way, here's the present, right here, the palm of your hand. Your past is your arm. There's only one path. Okay, and it all leads to the palm of your hand. There's where your life is, right in the palm of your hand. Your options, and let's face it, I do not have enough fingers, but we'll settle for the 5. Okay, your past is one past, that's all there is to it. Okay, and much like a tree, once it's growing there, that's all you've got. It does not grow. It doesn't, you can't go back to it and go, well, I don't like the way it's growing. You have to deal with it in the palm, in the middle of it, at the beginning. Once you get to the present, you've got all these opportunities. Okay, but here's the neat thing. If you decide you're going down the thumb, you can no longer get over to this one. Now, you can build a bridge that will take you to another line, but you cannot undo that step. You've already stepped forward. You cannot undo it. Have you ever driven down a road, gone for a drive, hit a road, traveled all the way down it, maybe a mile or two, maybe only 15 feet? I don't know. 15 feet, you might have an interesting setup. But you only go a couple miles down the road, find out it's an absolute dead end. Kind of like picking a career that you're not content with. You cannot undo the fact you went there. But in life, you can turn around, come back down that road, come back to the junction point, okay, and pick a different road and go down that. Okay, and that's a much better idea than the concept of a tree. But once you go down a road, you're down that road until you either come back down it where you're picking career, where you're picking direction in life, and pick a different one. But once you've gone down this road, from here, you'll notice from this point, there is no direct connection to this finger. Okay, you cannot just go, oh, I'm over here, I'm not doing this anymore. You can go, I'm going back to here, and going to try this road. Okay, the thing is, the past is over. You cannot alter it, you're stuck with it. There's a lot of speculation, a lot of talk about time travel, and we'll get to that some other day, but not today. The present is where you are. The future is full of possibilities. Question: are you going to take that future full of possibilities and are you going to turn it into something you can stand up and go, hey, I did this? Or are you going to sit there and go, my life is miserable? My life is always going to be miserable. Okay, the call is yours. Okay, and rest assured, I went through enough of the depression thing. Okay, but the choice that you have to make is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to focus on the negative side of it, or are you going to decide, I'm done being on the negative side. It's time for me to change the things and get rid of the things out of my life that I'm not content with. Okay. Now, there's a lot to consider, but there's only one thing you have to really focus on to start with. Right here, right now, no matter whether we're talking the past, the present, or the future, right in the moment is the only time you can do something. Have you ever gone, I'll wait another little while before I do that? Or, I'm going to wait just another 10 minutes and then I'll go to the store. You get to the store and the store's closed because you waited 10 minutes. Okay, ever run into that problem? Same applies to life. Procrastination often leads to disappointment. Okay, sometimes you have to wait for something to happen. If you've got an appointment, best be waiting. Think about a doctor. If you've got an appointment with a doctor, okay, and you miss that appointment, you now have to reschedule to their schedule, which may interrupt your schedule, may interrupt your plans, the whole 9 yards. Okay, so procrastination leads to one thing: delays. Okay, well, may lead to disappointment, depending on what you're procrastinating on. Okay, sometimes it's only a split second delay that can cause the problem. Like, for instance, if you're starting to slide towards the edge of a roof, delaying and grabbing the edge is going to result in a really complicated problem. Actually, it's a real simple problem. And rest assured, the reality behind it is there's only been a handful of cases where a fall has killed somebody. It's usually that sudden stop at the bottom that really screws up their metabolism. Okay, now when you decide what are you going to say, going to get rid of, or what are you going to alter, this is where a journal can come in handy, and I strongly recommend people take a look at a journal. And what I mean by that, as in writing down what you're going through. Presumably, if you're listening to this, you know enough to know what a journal is. Okay, I do recommend them for one reason. You can look back over, a few months down the road, if you're keeping a regular one, and go, what am I going through? Or what was I going through then, and am I still going through it? And if I am still going through it, what can I do to alter that? Okay, now, when I first started doing these, I'm hoping I'm getting the name right, and it doesn't really matter. You can call it a coffee cup if you want. Okay, it's still the same thing. I like the way that William Shakespeare put it. At least that's the way I heard it from him. A name by any other name, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. Okay, you can call this a pen, you can call it a stylus, you can call it a frying pan. The thing is still contained with ink and still makes marks on paper. Okay, doesn't matter what you call things. And the way I put it, I wrote a poem one day called Words and Emotions. And the one line in it that is really pertinent is that words are simply labels for emotions that we feel. Words are simply things used to describe what we're working on or what we're talking about. You cannot have communication without some form of common ground. Okay, decide what you're not content with and start eliminating it. As you see, if you go back through the other videos, that counter behind that brown shelf used to have a whole pile of paperwork and what have you on it. All that paperwork has been put where it belongs. Okay, either in a garbage, it's been filed where it needed to be, it's been the information has been transferred onto file cards, because that still, I mean, I'm a dinosaur, in a lot of ways. Okay, this is the way that I do my database, my phone numbers. I don't rely on my cell phone to keep my numbers. It does keep my numbers. Okay, but if I ever have a short on the thing, or if I ever accidentally delete one, these don't accidentally delete. As discovered the other day. See, I got a bunch of these things, and I'm going through them. Bunch of these with different names, different numbers on them. Okay, that I'm going through, double checking the numbers. If the numbers are garbage, like if they no longer work, I destroy the card. No more clutter, no more mess. But in one case in particular, I tried a number. I've been trying to get a hold of a chap for a couple of years now. Couldn't find his number anywhere. Stumbled across his number, so it got capped. And once I'd identified it, I popped it into my neat little file box. Now, they used to, when I was a kid, we used to have a great big wheel of these things that they called a Rolodex. Now people rely on computers. The difference was this. When a computer has a short, okay, when your computer gets scrambled, it takes forever to sort it out. Okay. Now, it was funny. We were looking for something in my computer the other day. Okay. And of course everybody says, well, if you're missing something in the computer, just do a search algorithm on your computer. Well, I spent about a half an hour running a search algorithm on my computer, and then didn't find what I was looking for. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, I remember seeing it in a file folder. So I went over to the file folder, right, and popped open the filing cabinet and rifled through it, and there it was. 3 minutes max. Okay. Computers are not always the fastest way to do something. Okay, the human brain is still faster than the fastest computer on the planet. The trick is to learn how to use your brain. So what I came to the conclusion of was if I was going to alter the way my life was going, I was going to have to get off my tail feathers and start making it happen. Net result, things are going away that I don't require. Okay, I keep pretty close tabs on my finances now for the same reason. Now, one of the neat little things, and where is it? This. I was at the restaurant the other day, right? And I had mentioned that I was going to start writing another book, okay, on success. And these funny little things here, this one is actually simple. And again, I don't expect you to read it, but this is a list of the number of different books that I'm actually writing right now. Okay, but these were the point notes that I did regarding the book that I'm about to start writing. Well, more to the point that I've already started, because that's what that is. I even did something really neat with that. Okay. Right here, I've already got the cover for the book designed. Okay. And again, these are just things that I sort through, I manage to file so that I can keep an eye on them, so I can actually work with them in the right order. And the right order, by the way, is this is what I desire to work on today. Yesterday, while I was on shift, I went through 11 pages of editing, I think, on top of my actual work. It really boiled down to a simple issue of I desired to get something done. Okay, today I've got a list already set up. I put it together. The first 3 things on it I put together before I even went to bed, so I knew as soon as I got up, I knew what I was up to. I knew what I needed, what was going to be happening, so that I didn't have this question of, gee, I wonder what I'm going to do today. Now, you cannot plan everything in your day. It would be wonderful if you could. But, you go, I'm going to go to this location. I'm going to drive over there. Get outside, your car doesn't start. So much for your schedule. Okay, or I'm going to go for a walk in the park. And I feel great. I'm going to go for a walk in the park. And then all of a sudden, you end up with a rainstorm. And you're like, okay, so much for my idea to go for a walk in the park. Okay, you plan what you can. The philosophy I've always lived by, as far back as I can recall, is you plan for the worst, or more to the point, you brace for the worst, you plan for the best, but you live for the moment. Where are you aiming at getting? Okay, one step at a time is all you can do. Right. So, where do we go from here? Well, first place we go is this. Decide what you're not happy with. And yes, I've repeated that multiple times. I was told growing up you had to have a plan in place by the time you're 20. I'll tell you, from the number of people I've talked to, as in to date over 80,000 clients. Okay. That's only a rough estimate based on information that I've got. Okay, you're going to have to take my word for the idea as to how many. The fact is, it was a lot. Of course, if you think about it, I'm just about 58 years old. I've talked to a lot of people. And the one thing I found in common is the massive majority don't have a clue what they're doing, what they're up to, or what they're planning on until they get into their late 40s, early 50s. But because of the fact that we're told you have to be organized by the time you're 20, most people, when they finally figure it out, sit there going, gee, I spent my life worrying about what I was going to do, and I missed all of this opportunity to have life. I just got a kick out of it. I was talking to a waitress the other day, really happy. I was talking to her yesterday. She was really happy, right? And she goes, I'm only 33 years old, and I am having the time of my life. I just go one step at a time. I haven't got a clue what I'm going to do when I get older, right? Don't know what I want to do with my life, but right now I'm going to enjoy it. And you know, that is the best philosophy that I could have heard from anybody at that point, especially given the fact that I was having trouble yesterday morning, which would be why I didn't get on the video early in the day. Today it's a case I got up, got myself organized, which is why I'm a little damp. Okay, and got to working on the video. Got to working on the journey here. Now I do hope I get a thumbs up. Absolutely, please subscribe to my channel. The idea from my end is real simple. Right now, I'm still at the bottom end. I think as of yesterday, I think I've got 88 subscribers. Tiny number. I hear these YouTubers all over the place going, because my son listens to a lot of YouTubers. And they're going, oh, I just hit the 1,000 mark. I just hit the, 1,000,000 followers. That's absolutely fantastic. And, one day I may get there. That depends entirely on you guys. But I will say, absolutely, it has been your encouragement individually that has really got me on the track to making this happen. Okay. And, even while I was going through my hiccups yesterday, I says the one thing that I am going to make certain of is as soon as I get off shift at 10 o'clock, I am getting my video from yesterday done. Now, I ran into a problem about a week and a half or so back, where I had the same problem and I barely got the video out in time. I called it on time because I look at the clock going, if it's not out by midnight on the day, well, then I failed myself. I did not succeed in what I was aiming at. Thus far, since March 6th of this year, I've managed to hit every day. So we are on the 24th. That's not bad. I'm 3 days shy of 3 weeks. Okay. Which, for me, is a staggering amount of success. Okay. Especially since you look at it. Oh, I'm looking in the back here, and I'm going to point and I expect you to see it. If you look at the gray box, that's my cash box. I just glanced at that, and there's that funny little brown thing on the left. Okay. I don't know. It's on the right from what I'm looking at, so it's on the left back there. It's that funny little brown thing, and I'm going like, what the heck was that I left there? Well, that's an old style pencil sharpener. Again, I'm a dinosaur. I still work with the old things. And that one, you can't tell from this angle, but that's a crank pencil sharpener. Now, people my age would recognize it real clearly, though when I was growing up, they used to be made out of metal, not out of plastic. Okay, and I'm talking the case, not the cutter itself. But right now, like, this is not a very organized one. I didn't think things through. Mind you, I seldom think things through. Today it was really a case of, get things mobilized. And there are days you start off scattered, so I'm hoping that I get rather productive today. Well, hope is not the way to look at it. I'm going to be rather productive today. I've got a list of things that I desire to get done. Right now, I've got 12 on the list, actually. So I'll be checking them off. And I'll let you know tomorrow morning how many different projects that I put on my list that I got done. Now remember, when you're putting your list down, make the jobs 15-minute to half-hour jobs. With that in mind, and there's a lot of reasons for that, but the reason for it is this: 15-minute to half-hour jobs, if you think about it, let's take only 8 hours of functioning before I go to shift. Because it's 4:45, it's 4:45 in the morning right now. Okay. Or just about 4:45 in the morning. And in that, if you take a look at that, 4:45 in the morning means, well, by 1 o'clock this afternoon is your 8-hour mark. Well, if you think about it, 8 hours at 15 minutes, I should have, at the very least, I should be hitting about 16 different items. Half-hour mark, 8 hours, right? Simple math. You end up with 16 projects. Now I've got 12 here. So I should have at least 16 done by the time 1 o'clock rolls around. I don't actually start work until 3. So I've still got a little bit of room, and I can still function after that, but I'll let you know tomorrow morning how many different little 15-minute to half-hour projects I managed to get done. Okay, wish me luck with that. Now, because we're at the end of the video today, again, until we talk again tomorrow, and we'll be back tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sakes, stay positive.